Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. Just a note that the planning board is the board of permitted uses, and that we follow the ordinances of the city and the regulations from the state. This time we call the order, please. We call the roll.
John Souza,
Here.
Zach Tony,
Here.
Tom Kerrigan, Anna Millette,
Here.
David Giovanni, and Michael Cooley,
Here.
Carol Vittorioso.
And call them. Okay, minutes of previous meetings. Do I have a motion?
Move to accept the minutes. Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, questions? Hear none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Plan submitted, A&R plan, DMC Hamilton, LLC, westerly side of Lanades Lane and northerly side of Hamilton Street. This is an A&R plan. Went out for a site on this today. It's a little confusing.
Engineer, explain this one.
We're gonna let the engineer try to explain this one.
One's a little less.
You gonna put that up on the easel? Okay, good.
Might have a little less engineer.
Beautiful.
That's not true. I wanted to move you over here.
Okay.
My name is Bill Gates. I'm a land surveyor with Whitman and Bingham Associates. This property is located on the westerly side of Lanades Lane. It actually, Lanades Lane used to be Forest Street. It's now been renamed to Lanades Lane. And currently is a roadway that leads out to the wastewater treatment plant for the city of Pittsburgh. What we're proposing to do is all of this land on the east side is in land court. It's a land court property. In order to subdivide the property and to create some of the things we want to do, everything has to go through the land court. This plan was specifically created to land court standards. And what we're trying to do is, through discussions with the city, we've started this process back about 1999 in looking to create Lanades Lane as a public way. It's gone through a long process because we had to petition the land court. We tried to get them to take all this property out of land court. That wasn't successful. So then we had to submit this plan to the land court. It took about a year and a half for the land court to take a look at it and make their decisions. What we're trying to accomplish is this green strip that you see right here is a 12-foot way that was in existence since about 1870. It has always been the access from the end of Forest Street or Lanades Lane to the airport property in Fitchburg. Basically, there's a section of the airport property in Fitchburg that was kind of isolated by the Nashua River. When the city of Fitchburg decided to build a wastewater treatment plant, they took a permanent easement, shown here in yellow, that created this way into the wastewater treatment plant. They widened it big enough for trucks, etc., to get through, guardrails, lights, basically made it to the standards of a public way. What we're proposing on doing is that there's several problems out there. There's a portion of the building that's actually in the Lanades Lane layout, and Mr. King uses the property for access to his building over here. What we have done is we want to petition the city to accept Lanades Lane as a public way. In order to do that, we're taking the existing 12-foot way, along with the easement taken by the city of Fitchburg, and doing a 10-foot taking on land of DMC Hamilton to create a 50-foot wide roadway and bringing it up to city standards. It's already been in the process of bringing it up to city standards. It's been rebuilt under city Leominster guidelines. And we're at the process now where we finally have got it through the land court. The next step is to get this plan signed by the planning board, get it back to the land court so they can approve it. Then all of the lots and parcels that need to be conveyed back and forth to the city of Leominster, etc., can take place through Attorney Mark Bedanza and the city solicitor.
If I may just say at this point, it's our intention, when this plan can be on file with the land court, that's going to take the planning director's execution to do that. We will thereafter file with the city council a petition to accept the way. With that, it will be accompanied a list of parcels or lots that have to be conveyed to the city of Leominster to accomplish the fee in the roadway. In order to properly do that, especially with the registered parcels, this has to be on file at the land court. It can't be on file without the planning director's execution. Accompanied that petition with those lots will be deeds, proposed deeds for the lots, title work for the lots, and of course the plan. And that will put the city council in a position, I would assume at that point, to convey it or to send it down to Holcomb and Page. They can check the title work, they can check the plan, they can check the proposed deeds. If they're all in order, I would assume this would be in the city's interest, given the fact that I believe the DPW would also have a referral and confirm that in fact it's built to city specifications. And as Mr. Gates suggests, we'd be solving a lot of problems down there. So that's generally where we're going with it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Do you have anything else you wish to add?
No, I'll take questions if
Okay.
anyone has any questions.
Do we have any questions from anybody on the board?
Would you be providing a turnaround for people that come in the Leominster portion of this road but do not want to go all the way to the treatment plant?
Right now, there is no plan for turnaround, no.
So what happens if a truck gets in there? How do they get out?
Just over the town line here, there's a place on the city of Fitchburg land where you can actually turn around there. It's not blacktopped at this point, but there is a place where trucks currently do turn around. And there's a place right in here where the trucks that pull into this manufacturing place here actually turn and make a loop in here to back up and deliver to the loading docks. So there are a couple of places that cars can turn around.
There's nothing within the jurisdiction of the city of Leominster.
That's correct.
Yeah, but you could, like I did, well, I drove through and I did turn around in the Fitchburg piece and came back out of there today.
What if they closed that? What would happen?
Well, then you couldn't do it, but that's their treatment plant, I don't know. I think that's open.
That's what the end of it abuts.
Yeah.
I understand your concern. I think as a practical matter, the property, as you know, is zoned industrially. All of the users of the property are going to have turnaround mechanisms for their own private purposes. I think you'd have to have a situation ultimately where, you know, all of that land was closed off in some fashion and practical to turn around. I just don't see that occurring, given the nature of the properties and given what's down there.
Well, I'm thinking about a truck getting in there by accident, by mistake, being able to get out.
I think right now there's ways to do that don't involve the city of Fitchburg, and I think as a practical matter, given the nature of the development there or the potential development, there's always going to be some place to turn around.
Yeah.
I think trucks go in there quite a bit now looking for a shortcut from Route 2 over to Airport Road.
Yeah, right, that's correct. But I've seen private owners who get tired of trucks turning and they put up signs, no truck turnings.
So
I'm looking for
something we
could do that
Is that ever be a throughway?
well,
be illegal on a road like of this length within the city. We should have a cul-de-sac on it.
Well, it doesn't really terminate in Leominster. That's the other issue, and it goes into Fitchburg. But I can say this, as it stands now, because a portion of that roadway is registered land, and because my client owns it, there's no ability to adverse possess against it. In other words, nobody can acquire rights. Technically, the factory has no ability to access the back of the building based on that. You know, the last thing in the world, quite candidly, we want to do is go back to the land court and start this process over with this plan.
Right.
What I might be able to do, I think, effectively with the owner of the James River building there, is to get some kind of an agreement with them that process could continue, that they provide some kind of a turnaround area in exchange for, what we're doing for them is we're solving some significant problems for them.
Or if you could get Fitchburg to agree not to gate the access to their treatment plant so that the turnaround could continue to be where it is
Well,
in Fitchburg.
I think one of those possibilities is something that we'd like to try to explore, and we don't have a problem with doing that. We just don't want to go back.
That's off the limit of this drawing, so if you could take care of that, that would work.
Well, we might try both alternatives.
Yeah. When I was there today, that there was in fact a couple of trucks. One went all the way through down to the sewage treatment plant, and there was a rather large semi that did come in there and turn around and back up into this building, up into this area, into that parking lot, which is on the right-hand side. There's also unofficial, there's that other piece of land, and it looks like at the end of the road, there's a big man-made cul-de-sac that's really not on the drawings, but people turn around there now.
My
So-
client owns the lot that's undeveloped as well, and I think, you know, it's a practical matter. Yeah, exactly. We could certainly add some pavement when that lot's developed. I don't see a problem with that either. I just don't want to go back to the land court and start. You have no idea what kind of a process it is to get one of these plans approved. Trust me.
Yeah, good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Any comments, Wayne? You got a chance?
Essentially, they're just taking and assembling all the parcels right now. They're not carving out the lots at this point.
Well, you've answered my concerns. I would move that we endorse the plan.
Okay, I have a motion to endorse.
Is that with the condition that we do get the turnaround?
I don't think we can. I think,
That's not a condition of signing this plan, though.
I think it's
a promise
something,
that's been made by the
It's a commitment.
parties.
It's a commitment from us.
I think when they come back and they get the A&Rs and when they come back in to develop this lot here, then you can make sure that your parking is the pavements covered at that point if you get your turnaround. So at this point, is to get it to that point, we have to approve this to get it out of land court, so that we can do something with it. So it's one of these things, yeah, we know what we want to do, but our hands are pretty much tied to what we can do at this point. Because we know that they have to come back to us when they get into developing that piece of property. So we're gonna have another shot at it.
That's correct.
It's okay, I have a motion on the floor to endorse. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Is there any further discussion? Do you have anything you want to push to add? Okay. All in favor of the motion to endorse, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's good.
3.2, an A&R plan, Orchard Hill Park LLC, west side of Orchard Hill Park Drive. Do we have a representative or an engineer here for this?
May not be. Explain this one when I talk to the neighbors. You here?
Oh, I didn't see you there. You snuck in on me.
Having outside.
Okay.
Good evening, Greg and Scotty. Here, I guess, on behalf of Orchard Hill Park LLC. Just a simple A&R plan subdividing parcel G and H. And just for my own internal purposes, really.
Okay, so this is the one we subdivided before, which was
That
target
was
before.
target parcel, right, subdivided last April or March or April.
Okay.
This is all J&D.
What was this all,
Yes.
what was your original, was this all one piece?
Yeah, what you're looking at, parcel G, H, and the target parcel were all originally one. So
Okay.
I'm just subdividing G and H, still retaining ownership, just changing title, legal title.
Okay. And does this affect the master plan at all?
Not affecting anything. Exact same lot lines, just carving out a piece, that's all.
Okay.
Which piece is it creating, Greg? Well, it's creating one.
Yeah, and,
Right.
This is one piece now.
This was one right now, I'm just subdividing G out of
Off of H.
That's all.
how does this relate to the master plan?
No change.
Is
The back
the
line is exactly,
Fitzgerald property, is that
that's Derby Realty Trust, that's
Derby?
correct.
Is that-
Still the same. That has not changed since.
And where's the access to that?
Derby, it's out here on Harvard Street
Harvard Street
and
access
down below on,
through the Leominster land?
exactly.
Yeah, this is the part that was industrial.
Yes,
This is the part that's
the commercial part, right?
mixed use commercial.
Right,
Commercial.
exactly. Yep,
And this is your retaining wall
yes.
and your detention
Yep, right away. That's
settling pond.
correct,
And this is target.
that's target.
Very good, okay. And where are your two driveways? One here,
Driveway is right about.
one here, and
About
here.
here,
So
Actually, it's right about.
That's actually.
Right about here.
how did you work that with Dart? Is there an easement?
This cross easements for the entire shopping
You're
center.
not showing those on this?
Not on here, it's all internal on the document, it's not, it's not on record. There's a plan on record, but the easements are all described.
Okay, to endorse the plan.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion made and seconded to endorse. Do I have any questions from the board? Pretty straightforward.
It's an easy one.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Good. Good.
Okay. Old business. 4.1, special permit for Mitch Gill, 435 Lancaster Street, for the purpose of building a duplex on the westerly side of Baker Street, an unaccepted street. Now, Mitch, we're not gonna be able to move on this evening, because Carol Vittorioso was one of the 5 votes, and she called and she's got the flu. She's running a high temperature.
But we are gonna review it,
Yeah, I can't, there's no, the hearing has been closed. So what we're looking for is for the information that we had requested, that we can look at, and then we can follow through, and then we match up to what we requested from you as far as the grades and stuff, and then and then we'll move forward with that. But we can't take any action
okay.
tonight, okay, because the special permit requires 5 votes of people that were here for the entire hearing.
Okay, I understand.
So Carol is one of those 5 at that time.
What we did is, we went out and, the first plan, if you wanna take a look at the plan view, we went out and surveyed the remainder of Baker Street up to Florence Street. And as you see on the plan view, worked out to be almost 600 feet. And that's from the center line of Wheeler Street to the gutter line of the far gutter line, the top of Florence Street.
Okay.
Now you see Station 5 to almost 6, no contours, that's because it's basically flat.
This is the road,
Right.
right?
And the road is right in here, you'll see when we go to the profile, but they're basically from elevation 424 to the very end, it's like 424.8. So there wasn't even a 1-foot contour in there.
Okay,
So now if you go to the profile, if I could have one of those.
this is for 84, 382.
So
Okay.
now the profile going your left to right. Here again is the center line of Wheeler Street and the gutter line of Wheeler Street,
Okay.
okay? And then proceeding up, the existing Baker Street is 8%
and you'll see it's labeled end of existing pavement,
Okay,
okay? Which is approximately Station 2. Then, we show the proposed 4% with 2 vertical curves, 4% slope, which was what was submitted to the board before. We left that intact as designed. And then we exceeded 10% up the slope. The existing grade is shown by the long line with the short dash. That is center line of existing road. As you, right, okay?
So
And then
where's the end of pavement? On the upper portion?
Right here.
the upper part is
It's
here,
up
which
here.
is, again, almost 600 feet, and it shows both gutter lines of Florence Street.
Well, where's the existing pavement on Baker? Where's that at?
Right here.
On Baker,
In other words, Baker...
no, the existing
Baker
pavement on
comes out of
Baker
the
ends
way-
right here. This is Wheeler, and you're coming up the hill, and
Coming
the
off-
existing
coming off of
pave
Florence,
stops here.
it's paved also.
Right, so
How
coming
far
off,
does that
of-
go?
that is approximately, comes out to right here, where you see it start to slope down. So the existing pave is approximately in this area here.
So you're showing 95, it's 5 feet. So you're showing cutting that down
Right,
2 feet at
correct,
that location?
correct.
And from there all the way to where it meets,
It's at 4% into gutter.
okay?
And then the remainder is into a vertical curve, and meets at 10% down into our proposed project.
so so this here, this is a 10% grade?
That's correct.
Okay.
So that, show me on this one, where are we right here?
All right, was at station 350.
Yeah.
So we're at station 350, which is right here.
Which is,
15.
and your foot.
No, there's no 15-foot cut.
Right here.
They're 5-foot intervals.
So,
That's 5.
10, so that's 10-foot cut. Maximum 10 foot.
382. Right, that's what station 50, that's what this is.
Yeah, it's right there.
8 feet.
407,
8-foot cut.
Very good.
That's 407.
407,
Good tool.
15 feet.
Yeah, it comes up all the time.
15 to 17 feet.
So that climbs,
What is it, 17 feet?
And this vertical scale is exaggerated, is that
It's
correct?
at 2, yes.
So you have,
Horizontal is 20 and vertical is 2. 1 inch equals 2.
so,
They're 5-foot increments.
so this is 100 feet,
Correct,
where this is 10 feet.
correct.
So, 10 to 1 ratio.
That's
That's why it looks so steep on the drawing.
yeah. I'm looking at the drawing, I said, that looks crazy, but okay.
Good place for a ski jump.
So so we can do it with a 10%.
That's correct.
So what will we have to do? Make a cut in here?
Yes, it's right in this area here is approximately 3-foot cut.
About a 3-foot cut?
Right, 3-foot cut,
This
yeah.
over here, Mitch.
What is that?
That's at station 5,
5.
Yep,
so station 5's right here.
says at the
Oh, that's
So you got about 3-foot cut here,
and then you got the leveling up at
That's
the
correct.
top anyway, so.
right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman? I know public comment isn't closed, but we have several people in the neighborhood who would love to get a chance to look at these drawings.
I'm gonna, what's gonna happen is, let me explain to you, that we cannot take any action on this tonight. So we will take, and we're taking, this is unofficial information that we're taking, these drawings are gonna be available. I would like to have, the hearings have been closed, so we can't, and we know what we're trying to do is we want to make sure, and that's what these drawings do, is they show the full grade all the way through from, on Baker Street from beginning to end. And in the city, we do allow up to a 10% grade, 10%. And so we showed, what we wanted to show, that what would you have to do to meet that max of 10% grade to run this road all the way through? What happens is it only ends up, and I'm just gonna pull this one section out. Well, actually, let's do it on this one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's straight shot.
It's a straight shot, but this is, let me see if I get it right. This is Baker Street here, okay? And this is the full length, and here's all your grades. But it's only this is Florence up here. And there's this one section right here at 5, where for a distance of about, looks like 5 feet, 10 feet? Each one of these is 5, you said?
That's correct.
So it looks like for a section of about 10 feet, approximately at the end of the pavement today, you would have to cut that down roughly 3 feet to get to the 5% grade, the 10% grade, the entire length of that street. Now, you could take it in that section, or you could bring it back and make it 1.5 feet and stretch it out over 10 feet. Okay, that would be up to the engineers or whoever wants to do it at that period of time. All depends how far back you want to go. So that's what we're trying to achieve here, was to make sure that we protect everybody's land that's going to do anything up there, that they can in fact, when this road would be developed, could in fact be developed, they could meet that max of the 10% grade. Okay, and it could in fact be done. So that's what we're trying to do, okay? Now, because we haven't, I'm trying to be cognizant of what everybody is doing, so what I'm gonna ask Mr. Gill to, we've got a very short meeting here tonight. We've only got a few other things. So I'm gonna ask him to do a stick around, and a few folks, and I'm talking on I'm only looking at maybe 3 or 4 more things. Old business, probably another 20 minutes, a half an hour the most. And then we could, if you wanted to sit down and go over it then outside the meeting, if you have any questions, we can do that, okay? There'll be no action this evening. One of the problems, I mentioned it to Mr. Gill as he came on, is because this is a special permit, it requires 5 votes of the 7-member board that we have. Ms. Victorioso, Karen Victorioso, called in this afternoon. She's very sick, she's running a temperature, she's got the flu, and it happens, okay? So, I guess it's run right through her family. She's got a 4-year-old, 4-year-old had it. Only mothers know what happens when the 4-year-old gets it, mom gets it next. So, so that's where she is tonight. And, so that way, we can't take, we cannot, by law, take any action on that this evening, okay? So what we can do is, what we had required was Mr. Gill to go through this, to come up with this plan, and to meet with that plan, and I'm sure that he would meet with you folks out in the back there to go over the plan so you have a better chance to look at it. Is that agreeable? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay?
Mitch, I got a question. On your side, what are we showing, 396, right? That would be your frontage against the road?
Well, that would
Imposed
be,
road?
well, that would be approximately half of it. This portion here is 398, correct.
So
So it's a little bit high, so he's gonna have a cut here.
you'd have a cut in here, I understand,
Right.
but now you get to, I just want to, once you go across Baker Street,
Right,
right, and we're assuming that, I'm assuming that it's gonna stay this width, correct?
that's correct.
So I'm gonna have one side of my road that's at around 396 to 398.
Right, this will be a bank.
This will be a bank in here.
That's correct.
How much of a bank is that?
10 foot.
Well, no, it's
Safe to say.
What's your
2
cut?
4 feet, 2 foot contour, so it's 2 4 feet.
4 feet from one side would be banked about 2 to 4 feet higher than the other side, on the side you're
We'll slope gently down into the driveway. And then
But it,
flow
but,
this way and that way down to the swale.
and at the very max on the corner of the lot line, which is right here,
Yeah.
we're looking at around an 8-foot contour, so it's a 10-foot.
402, so 2 4 6.
8.
Well, no.
Am I right?
Now, is that
Here's
gonna
402.
preclude,
It's 402, so it's 2 feet,
Yeah.
4 feet, 6 feet.
6
So
feet.
6 feet.
so you're gonna cut this on this side by 6 feet, so there's gonna be a bank.
Correct.
How do you get into this lot here? With a
Well,
6-foot bank
They
here?
would have to develop this in future and cut this down. The bank would have to be cut down.
So they have to cut all this piece out to
right.
have frontage
Right,
to build.
right.
So you still got,
Okay.
6 to 8 feet discrepancy one side and
And
the other.
again, if you go to the profile, okay, station 3,
Right here.
okay? So here's center line of road, and here's finished product, okay? And you have to run the 10% to make it viable up top. So this road is gonna be cut 2.5, 3 feet. You know,
That's
so
the
that-
center. But on the
That's
edges,
the
it's 8
center.
feet.
I'm just saying on the edge, that's center on the edge of the other,
So
on
it's
the edge.
2.5 feet center at station 3, which is here.
Mhm.
And 408 existing, 402 would be 6 feet. You'd have to cut 6 feet on that left side.
So you got one side is 6 feet, one side, call it
Right.
ground zero.
Right, which makes sense in most roads that are going into a hilly area.
Well, we gotta take a look at that, and make sure that that piece of property on the other side can in fact be built on.
Well, it would be once the road's built.
Yeah,
You have to achieve the 10% to get to the top of the hill.
right, okay.
And in fact, it also has to make our property buildable too.
Uh-huh.
You raise this anymore, and as you can see, the steep slopeness here, it goes into a swale. You raise that anymore, you're not gonna be able to provide a swale.
Well, you can't get the swale on that.
Correct.
It's interrelated.
Right, so I'll take a long, hard look at this.
Okay.
And this is the best in that area for what can be built there.
Okay. This is gonna have to be continued. Okay.
Do we have any other questions?
I have a problem. I found out about an hour ago that I'm not gonna be here on the 1st. Would it hurt you to go to the 16th, the 6th, or the 15th?
We'll have to.
Yeah, okay.
So 16?
Oh, the 15th, whatever the proper date is on my
For
book.
March
is
1st, so 15th.
15th, yeah,
March 15th?
yeah.
Is that the date? May 15th, next, second meeting in March, so
I think the deadline is,
the deadline.
We'll need a letter from him. We can get a letter from him to extend it to that date.
it's already right now, it's at 90 days from the close, which was January.
So we have to the end of March, right?
It's got till like the first week of April, so.
First week of
If you act
April?
out on the 15th, you'll be
Okay,
safe.
we should be able to act on it that time.
March
It's just the- I just found out, like, at 6 o'clock, I think I'm gonna be in Mexico.
Okay.
If something comes up, if something comes up, you can, we can take care of it on the 1st, we can extend the deadline.
Yeah.
I move to table this to March 15th.
I second.
Ask Mitch Gill to please provide a copy of these two drawings. Counselor Nichols to review with, for him to review.
Yeah, did you get a copy of this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very
No,
much.
I didn't.
Okay.
Give him one of our consents here.
Yeah. This is, okay, yeah, give me yours. Okay.
I can have this?
Yeah, that's the concerns of the people in the neighborhood. Okay, that's a petition signed.
Here's one for the counselor.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You can have this.
Okay.
I have a motion on the floor to continue it for 1 month and the second meeting in March with the 15th. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 5.0, discuss fee schedule for applications.
So do you, Mr. Chairman,
I know for
would like to skip to the next item on? I know there's some people waiting for that.
okay,
It's up to you.
Move to item 5.1 to the bottom of the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to move 5-1 to the bottom of the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Communications, 6.1, Whitman and Bingham for Peter Zakelli. Minor modification to the residential phase of the Crossroads Development Project located at 650 Mechanic Street.
Just right up there in the arena.
My name is Anthony Cleves, I'm with Whitman and Bingham Associates, representing Mr. Peter Kelly, seated in front of you. For a site plan for the Crossroads Office Park project. Currently, there's an existing building, the Crossroads Office Building. There's a vacant lot to the left of that, between that building and the old Leominster landfill. That's the land that we've been working on this project for. What I brought to you tonight, some of the members have been part of this project from the beginning, some have not. This was a plan done back in the late 80s, the original design of this project. This was a phased project, having an office component and a residential component. Back in the 80s, this was approved, a two-building, total 148-unit apartment complex, 6-story buildings each. It needed a special permit for mixed use and also site plan approval, which they had obtained at that time. Then, back in 2001, we came before the board with a revised layout of the site. Actually, I have some more plans if you'd like me to lay them out for the members
Sure.
in front of you.
That's good, we can see that. We can see that.
This was the site plan, again, that was approved back in
You guys see it down there?
2001. You can see the configuration was a little different from the 1980s plan. The two buildings, there's still two separate buildings, but there's a mezzanine tying the two together, so it was moved closer together. The traffic patterns were relatively the same around the external sides of the site. This is a plan that was approved back in 2001 by the planning board.
Still 148 units?
We had, was 140 units we had proposed at that time. We weren't sure if we were going to do the 148. The special permit, and that was one of the issues, I don't know if some of them remember, was if the special permit and variance that was granted back in the 80s was still valid for the project. And I believe there's letters in the file from the building inspectors throughout the time, I believe. I think Mr. Collette and Mr. Pruse had written recommendations. And basically it said that because we had started construction and built this first phase of the project, that acted upon the special permit and variance. And this was always deemed as a two-phase project, phase 1 being the office park, phase 2 being the residential. So they said that yes, that the special permit and variance have been acted on, so those are still valid today. But one of the changes from the previous plan was we had shown a building here and some parking on a vacant lot in this location here. That was one of the additions since the original plan. We also had a clubhouse over here. And again, that was approved in 2001. Back in 2003, Mr. Zakelli went down to the building department to discuss with Mr. Cataldo at the time, the project again. And Mr. Cataldo again reiterated, yes, the permits for the special permit and variance are still good, but that this piece here, because it was not shown and approved upon originally, this was always vacant in the original permits for the special permit variance, that part of the site plan would not apply to the special permit variance. So this wouldn't fall under that. So therefore, after that discussion, we've come to the site plan we're here tonight to discuss, which removes that construction from the plan and replacing the units back into this building, going back to the original 148 units from the 1980s permits. The parking has stayed relatively the same. We had total spaces 223 the first time. The last time the board approved it, with those 32 spaces here. So we removed them, and the shaded areas of where I've added parking to the 2001 plan. So we added some parking here, some parking here, and some parking here. The parking previously was later along the edge of the driveway, backing out. Now I've just created a parking lot in here before. This was a piece of land that we had some issues with before because the dump had encroached on there, and there's a liner there. So, so before we didn't have anything shown over there, but that's since been taken care of. So now we're showing some parking in that area. The building layout stayed the same. The drainage, water, sewer has all stayed the same since the 2001 plan. So basically the biggest change is removing this building and moving that parking, putting all the units back into this building, total 148 units, and then just filtering the parking that we need to meet the requirements. 148 units at 1.5 spaces per unit require 222 parking spaces. We're providing 226 for the site.
Do you have floor plans for the units?
At this time,
We have conceptuals right now. Well,
Okay.
I don't have anything here, but we have conceptuals.
Because if there's anything in those units that could be converted into an additional bedroom, you're gonna require 2 spaces per unit. Like a loft, or anything that could be made into a 3rd bedroom.
Yes.
And the other question I have is, have you computed the area of rooftops and pavement versus permeable
from the previous plan, or
from the new one?
it's we have about 0.01 acres less impervious from the 2001 plan.
And I don't remember those numbers.
What we had, let's see.
Okay, what's
It was
required?
4 acres.
In other words, what's required and what do you have? Maybe you haven't calculated that one yet.
We have about 4 acres of impervious surface on the site. And the lot size is about 5.6 acres.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
4 acres impervious? This doesn't look it, does it?
Yeah, it's the building, driveway around, driveway here.
Okay, we'll need to see that calculation.
Do we,
You have that on the drawing?
I have the lot size, I don't have the impervious area. Again, it was a decrease from the 2001 plan, the impervious area.
did we ever see a layout? I mean, this has been going on for so long. I've been here since the very beginning. Did we ever see a layout of the parking under the building?
No.
No. So,
It's 100 parking spaces.
oh, well, I know we say it's 100 parking spaces, but I'd like to see some kind of layout.
Architectural,
showing-
sure.
Yeah, showing the layout of parking underneath, to see if those meet the spec.
Yes, this entire, it would, you have access here, access here, access here, access here. Actually, I think right here,
There's not gonna be, I don't think there's a drive-through.
not in here, no. It's access in and out this building, access in
Are
and out
they both in and
this
outs?
building.
Each
Yes.
access is in
So
and
they're
out?
separate, but you're not connecting?
No, they do, no, the buildings don't connect, no. But the
Buildings
buildings
don't-
connect, but not the parking area.
But not the parking,
So,
they're connecting
I mean,
like
this
that
is-
mezzanine area?
Yes,
Yeah, this is an in and out,
yes, that's in and out. They're
all
both
of them in and out, in
Yes.
and out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to see, I don't
See
know what
the-
the widths are
Sure,
on
sure.
the in and outs,
Sure.
and also see what the parking configurations look like. I don't remember what you configured for parking space size, were they standard proposed?
Yep, the standard 9 by 19.
I'd just like to see what that looks like.
So, yeah, residence B and residence C uses require 50% or less impervious. 50% or less impervious. Now, you calling this residence B?
Well, it's
No, this is
zoned
C.
industrial, and this was,
Residence C?
Mixed use.
and it was under the mixed use, again, the special permit back in 1989.
I don't see it. It's a scary thought.
So
I vague, you said 89, right?
Yes.
89. It's only been around a little
Three
while.
of us were here.
Huh?
Yeah.
I was there. I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember what the parking was underneath. Did we go through that back then?
No, back
I don't
then, no.
remember.
No, we weren't
didn't.
talking about that back then.
No.
The reason why we're doing the parking under is because of the landfill next door.
Right, no, I understood that, I would figure that anyway.
Yeah.
But
this is a mixed use, you take the office buildings
Yeah,
plus the
right,
residential
yeah.
buildings, and you add all the rooftops and put it together, and all the impervious as a master plan, so I believe you have it. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Well, that's-
Now, with that change, if I can remember correctly, is snow storage areas,
Yeah,
you still, because I know, as I look at it, things come back.
Showing,
It was over on that side, but can't see it from
yeah,
here.
we still have a triangle in here, and some area in here for snow storage, a large portion over in here, with a major areas, you know, small portion in here, and you have some in here, and some landscaping in there.
Well, you're not gonna have to move what's underneath, right?
Right.
If you didn't have enough snow storage, would you truck it off-site? Get to a certain point?
I mean, right now, we
Just-
could
we still have
use
this-
They got
this
that whole
lot,
front
yeah.
section.
You know, for now, until something goes down the road, and I know there's
Is this
room
under
out.
different ownership now? I mean, it shows a different name.
It is a different name, but it's under, it's,
Same ownership.
same.
Crossroads Realty Trust, which is.
What's in that space now there, on the bottom right? Where you
This
shaded?
here?
Yeah,
Grass.
just grass.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've looked at this, and like we did before, on the communications, a minor modification like this, and what we did is we put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay, this gives us a chance to look at it, make some suggestions, like we wanted to get a breakdown on the impervious surface, get a breakdown on the size of the apartments that you're gonna have, or the condos, and if there are gonna be lofts or something like that, because that would affect your parking.
Yeah,
So-
they're all flats.
So what we're gonna have to do is, that'll have to be defined, that what they, exactly your numbers. I'm not sure if you had that on the, things have changed
Well,
since you
the
did that
reason why we're doing
89.
this now is because we hired an architect and a general contractor to
Mhm.
try to put it all together. And that's where we're at right now. We do have the conceptuals from a couple of years ago that McKenzie Engineering developed to come up with
Mhm.
that layout. And there will be some minor changes done to it now that I have hired an architect and
Okay.
a contractor to go forward with the project.
Okay. So it seems like, it's just minor things, we'll just
Yeah.
get this squared away. You've gotten the input from the board, and we'll just put that on our next schedule, so we can actually vote on it at that
Sure.
time.
So was it just the two things, the parking plan underneath the building and the impervious calculation for the total
And-
project?
And
Was
the
it one?
interior layouts.
Okay, the building.
Yes.
The
apartment
unit
layouts,
layout.
yeah.
Right.
Where are the parking spaces under the building?
Yeah, that's.
Can you point those out?
Those are just.
That's, we're gonna,
That's
we'll bring in
what
a
we're
plan
gonna
that'll show that.
He's gonna bring in a plan to show those parking.
The driveway drives through the building and each parking is off of each side of the drive.
Because the access and parking is on either side of the driveway.
Right
through-
under,
and
Under the
through
building.
Here,
through the
through
columns?
and throughout, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so they do go directly through
Yep,
each building?
be perpendicular parking.
So it's
up
in
to
and out,
24, yeah.
in and out, the two ways in, two ways out, but it connects through for each building,
Yes.
correct?
And it's not underground parking, it's not
Ground,
grade level,
ground.
it's half underground.
Okay.
So the
Open sides?
Open sides, yeah.
So the elevator.
The elevators will go down to the parking area.
Okay. Just need a motion to put this on the agenda for the next meeting.
So moved?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
So, will you be able to watch baseball games from the top floor there?
Yeah.
Up on the roof.
Rooftop seats.
Yeah, Little League.
Yeah. It'd be good, Little League. That would be good for me.
It's the little league field, huh?
Absolutely.
With the big one.
Get hit home runs.
I can have they have
We go back to 5.1.
next few days. That's okay.
Okay, which is discuss the fee schedule for applications. This is something that I had talked to Mary about some time ago, and of course, when she was in the process of leaving, it sort of fell by the wayside. When Wayne came back, we said, yeah, this is something we gotta do, is that our fee schedule hasn't changed in about 20 years anyway.
20 years.
About 20 years. And just to give you an idea, like for an application fee, the average, and we have a number of different cities and towns that we looked at, the average is $100 with $60 per lot, and Leominster is $50. That doesn't even cover the advertising anymore, or the administrative fees to do any of this stuff. So what we did was, we went through the different fees, and Wayne has some recommendations as sort of an average from the different cities and towns. We don't want to be the highest, but we also don't want to be the lowest. So I'm going to let Wayne go through this. I'm going to ask Wayne to go through this and sort of explain it. And this is something we can do, and then we can write this up and in a petition form, and then actually submit it to the city council with a recommendation of changes in the fee schedule. Whatever would happen, they would have to take a look at it, have their hearings, and eventually approve it. Okay? It would have to go through the city council.
Well, right now, they're in your subdivision regulations,
Right.
which are yours. The planning board adopts those. So that would actually
But I'm
be a
still gonna
hearing.
ask for a recommendation from the city council.
Right, but I mean, the hearing would be with you, so.
Right, right.
Okay, so we're
So,
first set, we looked at with the A&R plans. And we looked at, I'd say probably about 20, 25 communities, different sizes, different locations. The average we found was about $100 for the application fee. Some didn't include a per lot fee in addition to that, some did. The ones that did, which is similar to Leominster, average about $60 per lot. So as you see, the average was about $160 and $70 per lot created. Right now, you're charging $50 and $20 when more than 2 lots are created. You go to the end of the memo, the recommendation was to bring it up to $100 and maybe $25 for each new lot created. And that would only be, if you're just adjusting lot lines, it would just be the flat $100 fee. Sometimes people just swap land between each other with unbuildable parcels. I wouldn't consider that creating new building lots. I would just consider that adjustments to lot lines.
right.
So that would only be $100. But, you know, there is staff time involved in reviewing stuff even like that, and, you know, $50 sometimes. As you saw one of the A&R plans tonight, and actually it's an extreme case, but I mean, that took a little more than a couple hours of staff time to review, so, you know, with the current fee you're charging, it barely covers even the staff's time to do stuff.
How do these new numbers reflect the actual cost? Do you have any idea?
They're closer to the amount of time that we would spend on something as opposed to the current
Closer
fees.
approximation?
In the current fees,
And
right.
where would the money go? In the general fund?
Well, right now it goes back to the general fund.
Okay, and then it comes back in the appropriation?
Right. Preliminary plans, right now you charge $75 a flat fee. Out of 23 towns and cities we looked at, 21 use a flat fee plus a per lot basis, a per lot fee. The average we found was about $300 with about $50 per lot.
We're a little lower.
Yeah.
We're lower, you're proposing something that's below the average?
Well, I think that's where we want to probably talk a little more.
It may
'Cause
seem like a big jump, but
when you get
however-
into definitive plans, that's where you want to probably talk about them almost at the same time, because I think you want to set a preliminary plan fee low enough where you still encourage them to come in. I won't use the word penalize, but I mean, you want to discourage them from just coming in with a definitive. You want to try to encourage them to come in with a preliminary and talk with the board before they go too far with the engineering and everything on a definitive plan. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll add, and yours I don't think is too much, well, as long as there's only $50 or $75 for a preliminary plan and then $100 for a definitive plan. So they're almost the same, so there's not much incentive for them to come in with a preliminary, although they probably do a lot of times, but I think.
Most of them do, yeah.
But even, you know, for example, the $75 really doesn't, I mean, there's time involved for the department, you know, we send out requests for information from different departments, we, you know, circulate the plans for comments, we have to put all the comments together, summarize things, you know, review things, make comments, you know, the $75 isn't gonna cover it. But I think it depends, same with the definitive, you know, the $100 and $10 per lot, you know.
So it seems like the big jump, but it's been many years since there was an increase, so.
Almost
if you
20
have
years,
an
so-
annual increase percentage, it's not very big.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, if you took and said 5% for the
And he's
last
still-
30 years, you would have probably be higher than.
For definitive, and you're proposing 200 for us, so that's below the middle, below the mid-level.
But I've also, are you talking the preliminary or the definitive?
In the definitive, is the low is 10, the high is 70 per lot.
That's
and you're
what-
proposing 20, so that's still
Right.
low.
It's low, but I think some of the per lot charges on some of the other towns are probably on the high side. I think it's almost, I had Andy looking into it and he didn't get the responses back in time today of what the justification was from some of these other communities. I have a feeling some of them that are charging a lot on the per lot fee, I'm not sure how you can justify some of those numbers. I think, you know, what I did was I went through and took maybe like a 10 lot subdivision, a 20 lot subdivision, a 50 lot, and played with the numbers. And obviously when you have more lots and more roadway, there's more staff time involved in reviewing these. And the numbers seem to work that I put down here.
Good.
And the difference between the definitive and the preliminary is, you know, $220 per lot for a definitive with a preliminary filing, and $550 per lot without a previous preliminary filing.
So if they file a
I
preliminary
think-
plan, they end up saving money.
Yes, you do.
Bucks, and $30 a lot. That's the
But we
incentive.
want them to
If you
come
had
in with a
a
preliminary
cap.
plan.
And that's something you guys,
If it went over $2,000, then we have it.
That's
Right.
the
and that's
incentive.
something you guys could consider if you wanted to.
So that's why we give them an incentive to do that.
Pretty good incentive.
Yep.
Like Tom was just saying, you know, some actually put a cap, they'll say, you know, a maximum. Not, you know, once you get to a certain point, it's just, you know, that's something you can consider. I didn't look at it, but if you wanted to, you didn't have it now, that's why I didn't know if you wanted to. Or
Yeah,
not.
Millbrae has like a maximum of 5,000, there's 200, you know, lots of it.
Yeah, you could do that.
2,000, 3,000, or whatever.
I don't think we have any huge ones coming in with that
No.
kind of.
Well, how would it be on,
Huh?
like the
The apartment.
plan we just looked
Yeah.
at? 148 units in 2 buildings, what kind of a fee
Right
structure?
now, it's one.
See, that would come under the next one, under special permit and site plans. You know, right now you charge $50 for the special permit.
For what, for the whole thing?
For the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Now you're saying 200 per unit in there.
I didn't put that in with this discussion, but I wrote that in parentheses if the board wants to consider that.
Yeah, if you get.
A lot of places
four
will
units
charge.
building, $200, for 148 units, $200.
Well, because your special permits
More
range,
involved and the bigger you
Mhm.
develop.
your special permits range over commercial projects, some residential projects. Some places will charge like a certain number of dollars per parking space, then they'll charge a certain number of dollars per, residential unit. You don't have that now, but you could certainly consider,
Well, everybody wants to build apartments and condos, so I think we should have a fee structure for them.
also add a per unit fee to the.
Break it up from commercial to.
For residential
Like a
units.
So if
per
we-
parking
Residential
space for
units.
commercial
Yeah.
projects and per unit for.
For residential unit.
Yeah, break that out so that you have a difference between the different, you have industrial, commercial, and residential. And then per the parking place, then we can,
$20.
yeah, something like that, right. Well, what we're doing is we're getting information from the other cities and towns, find out what they charge, and we're trying to get an average on that.
No, I did a good comparison,
Yeah, that's excellent.
Now, one of the things we didn't have on those charts that we looked at, we're trying to get from calling people, some communities keep the filing fee or the hearing ad fee included with the permit.
Right.
Some charge it separate.
I like charging separate.
Yours, the legal ads here, I think run us 130. I think the average I've seen is anywhere from $110 to $130 usually, is that 160 even, so I mean, on a $50 special permit,
Yeah, we got a bill for $160, right?
so,
They gotta pick up that.
I think more towns are going to the filing, the having them pay the separate legal ad fee, just because it's,
On top of this,
On top
Right.
of it. So,
okay.
yeah.
So you
because of the
get
special,
your
but don't forget
filing
with-
fee,
With some of these too, you have to take, it's not just the review time too, it's the writing of a decision and the documents that follow.
Mhm.
That takes staff time as well,
Yeah, but
and a special permit can be even more,
Intensive.
involved than like a preliminary plan
right.
decision. So, I mean, you have to keep that in mind when you look at the fees too.
I think you should all include the actual advertising cost, that way you're built in for inflation,
Yeah,
because every year
That's right.
those are going up.
So
that's right.
you want a
So-
separate, have them pay it
Yeah.
separate?
If you
Right,
have,
that would be my, that would be.
if you have the administrative fees, and then the actual cost of advertising. So that way, if the advertising rates increase,
it's not gonna change.
By having them pay
Right.
the actual advertising, we can keep our
never get behind.
administrative fees lower.
But we're already under average with the new proposed fees, so
Right.
that would be a good justification for keeping them under average because
Right.
we're charging a fee for them to do the legal advertising.
all we're trying to do is bring it up, just to bring us up to the,
Well,
Yeah,
we're not
to
even,
where we
You're
are.
just trying to, I mean, you want
Try
to
to
cover
break
your
even.
costs. I mean,
we're trying to break even, that's
Question
all.
is
Staff
whether
has to put time in.
fee or
on
whether
The
it's
biggest
an
cost is
expense.
staffing.
that's right,
So they get the bill.
The biggest
Right.
cost, staffing, it's gotta be more than that.
that's an expense.
I mean, I know the city council just, I don't know if it was last night, I know they were changing their special permit fees as well. I think they raised them to $200.
There was some discussion on it, right,
Right.
yeah.
Second reading.
And I believe the ZBA,
Just a second.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, Council, yes.
It was just a second reading, I think it passed the second reading, so I think in 21 days it will be law, that they went from $75 to $200.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. I knew there was something there, I wasn't exactly sure what it was.
I like this, and I like keeping the legal fees, I mean, the legal advertising separate. Because like Armin said, it's inflation proof on the advertising at least.
Now, when they pay, how do they pay for the advertising? Do you just give them a bill right away, or you send them a bill? or-
Something we gotta work out. I mean, it's usually, I've seen some towns where they just tell the applicant,
It's part of the
you
application fee.
you go put the legal ad in. The problem with that is they've already submitted the application. If they miss the deadline, they don't get it in time, it causes confusion, so.
I mean, to
I
me,
mean, we can ask for, we can go back and look at the average. I mean, we typically, the ads will be, usually within the same range.
Sure.
Well, we know what the size of the ad is that you're gonna put in, what your column inch is. So we know what that is, so we pretty much can tell them at the time they file, this is what it's gonna cost you for your ad.
That's what we did the last
And then every
time.
year, the newspaper comes in whenever they adjust their advertising schedule, they just give us a new schedule, that's all.
Good.
And they just work out the column inch, because we know,
Yeah.
from that. So we can tell them up front. So the time they file, we say your filing fee is this, and then your advertising cost is this. Okay, if it's off a penny or two, it's, you know, a few cents, I don't think it's a big deal, but a lot, long as we're close.
And the other fee that people usually will try, or, no, the communities I've worked in, they make them bring in the envelopes with postage already on them.
To the
And then
abutters.
we'll put on the labels for the abutters list, things like that. Right now, that's just taken out of your fees as well. And again, that's entirely up to you to make that
You raise that
decision.
fees on that.
Do you have any idea how much that costs us, Brent?
Matter of fact, I figured one out last week just for the heck of it. It was about $11. Just for postage.
Depends on the neighborhood, you know, if you're in an area with a lot of small lots, you know, you could have a lot of abutters, or
Yep.
you could have 2 or 3 if you're on like a big industrial piece. I mean, it does vary. That's why it's hard to kind of like charge a flat fee for that. Usually, you just have them, you know, either you could charge them a per, you know, cost per abutter, or
Postage is going up 10%. Imminent.
if you had, you know, like special permit, you'll have a mailing of a notice, you'll have a mailing of notice of decision, and then, you know, the cost of 2 envelopes, you know, penny here or there, but, you know, you probably wanna, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can add up over, for one applicant, it's not a lot. For the city to absorb that over 30 applications, you know, it adds up after a while.
Plus, you might be talking staff time as a way to calculate the cost.
Right, because Brenda has to.
You're not
put
even
those-
including the cost of benefits either,
Correct.
which is another 27% or so, 27, 8%, 28% on top of that. Yeah.
So I think we might want to look at that, and I tend to think that it should be probably incorporated right into the fee, but what I want to make sure is that the fee is sufficient to cover that.
The
You know,
advertising, just,
Yeah, not
I mean, just the legal notices.
the legal notices, because there's such a variable there. You know, in some cases, you're gonna have 2, you could have a big project with only 2 or 3 people. And we had a case, let's take, we had the Target tonight, where you had, yeah, we take both, you know, and there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's either 5 or 6 actual abutters to a huge project. Mitch Gill is tonight, he's building 1 house on a special permit on the street, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
300 feet, and I believe there were 20,
20.
Yeah.
plus cities and towns.
So here you got one lot, you know, for a single,
No, like I
for
said,
2 houses, and there's 20 people there.
For a
because
wireless facility, do you do a half-mile radius? Is that what you're doing?
Wireless?
I haven't found it in there, but
I think
on a
so.
wireless communication facility, a lot of towns, for their radius on a special permit, they'll actually go out further. Something they just usually put in their wireless bylaws, that they want to have a larger
Yeah.
radius.
I think we have standard on it, so the
Okay.
300
Go
feet.
butters.
Right.
You know, in a case like that, it could go up, so. Like I said, I mean, they're not a lot for mailings, but, you know, for each applicant, but for the city, it could add up over time, or, you know.
I mean, my thought would be, again, and I'm not too familiar being the new guy in the block, but, I mean, I mentioned at the last meeting that the fees seem cheap. The fees are really, really low for the project that's going on and the revenue that's being brought in for the developer. I don't think that it's anything to be embarrassed about in asking the customer to pay the fees. And it, like you say, Wayne, it may seem small, whether it's just in the postage or it's an ad. Advertising is huge, and once the newspaper decides to change, they're not changing the price of the ad by $1.50. They're changing the price of the ad by another $20 or $30. It's going up a lot. I don't see any problem with just asking the customer, this is what it's gonna be, you need to pay this. Because, like you say, over the course of a year, over the course of so many applications, if you end up having to re-advertise and re-advertise again, it can get pretty hefty, I'm sure. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for the money right up front. This is what it's gonna cost, this is what we need. You have all the expense of the department and every other department that's being involved in it throughout the city, and the city is a fee-based business. That's all that you have to live on.
Okay. I think you've got enough input to to sort of rework this a little bit?
What I'll do is I'll work on this and bring it back in 2 weeks. It shouldn't take a lot of time to review
Right.
it again.
Basics.
And if you're comfortable with it in 2 weeks, we can set a hearing date.
Yeah, we'll set a hearing date, and then we'll submit it to the city council to get some inputs from them also.
I like it, Wayne, nice job,
Good.
Good work.
nice job.
Okay,
That's it.
on communications, I have a card here. Dear John, I want to thank you and the planning board for the surprise retirement party you held for Nancy and me. It was an evening I will always cherish. My only regret was that Nancy could not be there to share the special occasion. Thank you all sincerely, Mary Olivier. So it's a nice card for Mary for the little going away party we had for her a couple weeks ago. So she's a great lady. She gave us many great years, and her heart is still with the planning board. Wayne, do you have anything that you want to add?
A few quick things here. We got an email from the DPW a little while back. They'd like to require that if you're gonna ask them to review things, say somebody comes in, has a hearing, they have to submit revised plans, they'd like at least 2 weeks time to review them. Sometimes they could do them quicker, but they'd like at least 2 weeks, so.
Okay.
I think it'll depend on the project when we look at it at night, but if it is gonna be something fairly elaborate, we may have to continue things off like a month instead of 2 weeks. Because they're, you know, and that's the time they need. They need
Okay.
2 weeks, so we have to make sure we tell applicants.
We'll take that into
Give it to
consideration.
them 2 weeks in advance, so they have time to
Okay,
prepare
fine.
for the meeting. We get a notice from the town of Sterling on a 40B project.
Yep.
That's the one that's adjacent to
To the
Whitney's
Whitney
project.
project, right.
Okay.
Well, it is.
The hearing's gonna be on February 23rd at 6:30.
Willard Street?
No, that's,
No, it's on Route
it's on Route
It's on Route
12.
12, right between
It's-
Giambrocco's and
It's
ABC.
behind Giambrocco's,
That's correct.
okay, in the back there.
Yep. When's the
And he
hearing on
wants
that,
to
Mr. Howard?
access that off of the industrial road
That's
that we're
correct.
gonna, off of the industrial land that he has proposed to us.
Yep,
Right.
The hearing's February 23rd, so.
yep.
At
No, I
6:30,
had,
Mr.
actually, I had 3
Yeah,
people
today.
from
How many-
Sterling
how many
approach me
units?
at work today on this one. So
Yeah.
I found that interesting.
Were they tied in?
28?
Huh?
23rd, where, at that town hall?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, they're sending us
The town
the
hall.
sewage and the water again,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Well,
access from
Butterick
industrial
Municipal
to
Building.
residential.
Mary Ellen.
Okay.
That has to be separate,
But they're all.
unless they set up something with the city. They have an intermunicipal
February
agreement. I have no idea what they're doing with that.
If you're interested in that project,
That's
then this
just
would be.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a notice,
that's a notice.
to come by and say hi, just like they came to last meeting for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's at 2:23, what time?
February 23rd.
6:30.
6:30,
6:30 at Town Hall, right?
municipal building, Park
Yeah.
Street and stuff.
What, next Wednesday?
What's the 7th, today's the 15th, next
Yes.
Wednesday.
Next
It's
Wednesday.
Thursday.
21st, yeah.
No,
Thursday?
next, yeah, next
Sunday's
Wednesday.
the 20th.
Somebody took my calendar
My
and my,
birthday.
No, today's the
When
15th,
will
so
we,
it'll be a week from tomorrow,
When will we
next
be discussing
Wednesday.
the smart growth zoning?
Yeah, I know it, that's been telling him,
I would just like to say that
you're right.
we've been doing our part for
Back.
smart zoning on the Crossroads project, 148 units on 5.6 acres. That's 26 and a half units per acre. And it exceeds the smart growth. But I think the smart growth zoning ordinance is something we should evaluate carefully because that could be, have a lot of problems with it.
yeah. What the smart growth is that, I was gonna let Wayne bring it up, but what Armin brought up here is in our packet today is a new law. It's 40R.
Right.
And what 40R is, it's an attempt by the state to create a new chapter in the zoning to allow more dense housing, okay? But The caveat is that if in fact you go with this and you actually implement it and actually get something developed, then the state will in fact reimburse the city so much money per unit.
They don't
So
outline
it
it.
could mean like $25,000 or $30,000 or whatever it might be, okay? So that there's, what they're saying is, if the cities now, in most cases, it looks like there's a lot of good things in here. One of the big problems that I have
10,000.
is that the lot sizes, and they're coming up with 20 units per acre
Well, it's because
That's
I'm
on,
looking
that's on
at,
multifamily.
in the multifamily.
Yeah.
The multifamily, 20
Yes.
units per acre, which is, I think the maximum that we allow today is 8 units per acre.
Right.
yeah.
It's 8 units,
Multifamily.
so it's more than double, okay, more than double of what we allow today.
But now a
So
certain
I'm not
percentage would be affordable, so.
Oh, yeah, a portion would that
Right.
always be affordable, and the whole thing is that this is in fact
Spur.
trying to get spurring development so that there will be in fact affordable units in the downtown area, because this requires to be in an area where there is transportation. So you have to have either railroad or bus service, so it has to be pretty much in a city area.
The city would have to adopt a smart growth zone to be any
Right.
size, any location. But then it has to go to the state to be approved, and that's where you have to show them why you chose that area. So your sewer, your water, your transportation, you know, they can't just pick it and put it out in the middle of nowhere.
And when you start getting into that type of intense building, you put a real impact on the sewage and the water.
Oh, no.
So-
In the roads.
And the whole infrastructure in the road, so.
So is it that smart?
So is it that smart? I really don't know. All we're saying is, this is new, it's just been approved by the state legislature. Take a look at it, we try to stay up on top of what's coming down the pipe, and,
Well, one of
is
the
it
things-
something we wanna do? I don't know, I don't have a real opinion
It
on
doesn't
it.
talk about, like, numbers, or I haven't come across it yet, like numbers of bedrooms or things like that. It does talk about you can't make it all age restricted, so if you're trying to cut
Right.
down on traffic, you couldn't say it's all age restricted, but I think you can look at things, you can have like a certain percentage go to people with special needs, you know, different, a mixture, so I mean, you may not see the full traffic impact or something like that
Right.
either.
So,
It's something to look at, I mean, I'm not aware of any community that's adopted it yet. And I did try to give you, it was a summary that the Metropolitan Planning Council put out back in Christmas time, and they just printed the results. I thought I gave you that at the last meeting.
right,
That was Metropolitan Planning Council letterhead on it. That was something I found on the internet that they put together. It's interesting, they did a survey of their member communities to see what their thoughts were. It was interesting when you get a chance to read it.
okay.
Seems to be a little concern that the state may not come through with the money. That was one of the.
Well, see, that's
things I saw.
that's one of the caveats, is it's a may. The state may come forward with the money, you know? Well, we know what that is, you know? Oh gee. So all of a sudden you do all these things, you come up with a smart growth, and all of a sudden say, well, we don't have the money in the budget this year. Tough luck, city, you know? You've got all the money, so that's why I've been very, very cautious on this, of
It's
going
something you want
forward.
to schedule maybe in a couple weeks. I know
Yeah.
the meeting's kind of busy.
And if there's some real growth, real interest in here, is we wanna take a look at it, just, and either that or create something, but right now, I'm not, it's not something that
It takes
I,
some looking at.
it's not on the high
I
priority.
did tell at the last meeting, the board had asked that I forward it to the
Right.
council, which I did send them a copy of everything you got, so. And the mayor as well, so.
Okay.
At least people are seeing it. The next meeting, I know it's a little busy. We got a
4 hearings.
Yeah, 4 hearings now,
gentleman who had gotten a
Who did that?
variance from the zoning board for a duplex unit. The variance was just for dimensional purposes, it wasn't for the duplex unit itself. I guess it was before I got here, the planning board had sent a letter. There may have been some confusion over what was on the plan. The ZBA, as a part of the variance, required him to come get a site plan approval from the planning board. It's pretty simple. I'd like to do it at the next meeting, even though we already have, you know, a few things on there. It should be
Put it
pretty
on there,
simple.
sure, that can go quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
they can go.
Would you want, Don't do it at the end of the night, Joe, get done at 6:30.
Right. One other point, and I wanna let David get out of here, he's going. There's a training coming up.
Oh, that was the last thing I had.
Oh, you got that?
And everybody got a copy of it last week, so.
Okay, why don't you talk about that training and,
Oh, I mean, everyone got this last week, and if you're still interested, you know, the deadline hasn't
okay.
passed.
What is the deadline, Wayne? Just, I don't remember, it's in my.
So the conference is on the 19th of March, it's a Saturday at Holy Cross.
Citizen Planner Training Collaborative. You wanna go? Something here, so-
March 11th is the deadline for getting registered.
Okay, we have money in the budget, in that training part of our budget, to cover that. I went to this back 3-4 years ago. I found it very informative. Right now, there's a section, Wayne, let's double check, isn't there a section in there on, we mentioned it today, on mixed, not mixed use, but on older building, rehabbing buildings and stuff like that? Comprehensive? I looked at it quickly, I thought there was something in there about, and I know that's coming up and that's a lot of concern. And, I don't have.
Non-conforming structures,
No,
lots. and
yeah, that's the one. Non-conforming
That's more
structures.
like the overview of the state enabling law or, you know, pre-existing non-conforming use, chapter 48 type stuff.
Right,
So it wouldn't really deal necessarily like with some of the petitions you've seen for using abandoned buildings.
right. But I think that
But
would
it's
be good.
still good information. There's another one on, covers old substandard and paper roads, which you actually review a lot of.
Right,
So I mean, there are some good things. You know, an introduction to zoning, it highlights it for new board members. It goes over things like special permits, zoning, bylaws.
so all these things, we've got quite a few new members, so if you can see your way clear at all to do that, I really encourage that we all get together and go down there, and I'd have no problem going down there and doing it again. Okay? And maybe we could even invite the city council to come along too. We'll pass the information on to you. Okay.
Forward the application.
Yeah, forward the information over.
But
to
they
the city
can't come
council.
out of our budget.
We gotta come out of their budget.
Did we ever raise in our budget?
Yeah, we gotta raise it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we gotta raise.
Okay,
Okay, do you have anything else, Wayne?
205.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn?
we have a motion to adjourn.
My motion back.